reason the online in the Quarry is not that good. So the reason is you would have a number of different onlines, but there's sort of all this, same, similar in a way. Because you've only got three online modes. You've got one which is Wolfpack, and that's shite because the reasons is you only have one host. One host. You have one host. The others, on the other hand, are the choice to help the choice or whatever of the game, which is shite because if, for example, you want to play with multiple people, say you want to walk around like you do with the other games where you end up with a second player or something like that, and you end up working together. Say one person's doing something while one person's doing the other, which impacts on their story in a way. Now, the reason it's basically bad on the Quarry is because, again, it's a choice thing instead. It's more of depending on how many vote on that choice, then that determines on what that choice is. Yeah, so there's two different wolf modes to that. So like I mentioned, the actual one where you apparently, you decide or whatever which one you choose on depending on how many click on it, then that's what you go with. But with the lone wolf, on the other hand, if multiple people click on a choice, only the host can decide which they want to go. You know what I mean? Because only the host can make a final choice. Which that is a lone wolf. So you do actually have couch mode. That's not actually online now. You have pretty much movie night. Nah. I mean, like I said, they're all crap. Literally all crap. Well, the online mainly for trying to invite players in, it's shite. It's literally shite. At this point. Now, compared to the Dat Pictures games, they're better. The other ones. They are better in terms of having a better online system that allows you to have more than one player in the same game. So that means one takes control of one character, or one takes control of another character, or whatever. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. And I think they should have done the same with the Quarry, where you'd have more than one character, or whatever. 3 would have been a good idea. 3 characters doing their own thing, depending on the player. You know what I mean? They would be doing their own thing or whatever. Say for example, you're actually pretty much in the same story. They would probably be following each other. Like you do in Man of Medan and whatever, where you actually follow each other and whatever. You can basically choose to follow each other. Stuff like that. Um, but nah, they don't do it with a Quarry. It's a shame really because me and my sister and May, we all get the game, and then apparently we basically think, oh, it's gonna be fine, and turns out it's not so fine because we can't get, to play. Oh my god, that's the problem with the Quarry. You can't really play together online properly. It is pretty shite for that. Okay, so Um. So, like, basically, you can say is I think there was like two different people. Um. Because basically I do think there was two different teams in the same franchise. One team did one did the other, and apparently they did both games around the same time. If you get what I mean, it's like one worked on the Devil in Me, one worked on the Quarry. And I think that was a bad idea. One should one full-on team should have worked on the Devil in Me. Um, and then once that was out the way, then do a spin-off with the Quarry and get the full-on team onto that one. Then they could have had a better online, where the online works and you have multiple characters walking around better. Like you'd have, say, you were doing something, one would be doing something, one would be doing the other, or whatever, or someone would end up in other part of the story where they're doing something else, something like that, and they intertwine or whatever. Because sometimes with characters, they would pause until a certain character reaches a certain point in the story. Now, that's what should have happened with the Quarry. Um, so that they impact each other. But it's a shame, really. Um, yeah, so the online just sucks. In general, it doesn't really work. Basically like it should. It sucks. My mate just sat through, and my sister sat through watching me with a flashlight and whatever, and they were getting bored. Um, and basically they were suggesting they could do it basically themselves or whatever, with their own story, and I was like, go for it. Yeah, because that's the problem. I also read a comment on Reddit about it, a bunch of Reddit comments, and one said they sat 4 hours into the game, just watching his mate as the host. Apparently, do his thing or whatever, and they just had to stop that gameplay because how boring it was. So that that is the reason why it's crap. A lot of people complaining that it is shitey online, and such. But it is better off to do it yourself, mainly. There isn't much achievements to the game. There's really not that many. Especially with some modes not really having achievements. That's another one. Um, I don't know. It just sucks. Uh, so, yeah. So they're just basically all classes like multiplayer mods. I mean, you have a couple apparently that is like a multiplayer or whatever, and so on, yada 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 yada. You have the movie night, which you're in the same room. That's movie night. You mainly like kind of like a coach mode thing where you end up in the same room anyway, and basically end up passing the controller to each other and whatever. That's how that one goes. Um, but not really everyone has a lot of people in the area that would basically be stuck in one room. It's just more of local, really. So like I said, the other one is more of a movie sort of thing, really. The only thing that me and Chris have done my mate have done before is we tried SharePlay, and I don't know. SharePlay is just a pain in the ass. Because you switch from because it goes with the three thing basically. My sister was suggesting it, and I was like, SharePlay would be a pain in the ass. Because yeah, again, the online is pretty shit. For that. Yeah, because the thing is, the Quarry doesn't feel like it has online. Like it shouldn't have online. Which is trash. Because it's like the developers just stuck it in there and thought, okay, yeah, let's just stick it in there and hope nobody notices, and bam, everyone notices, and I'm like, nope. Yeah. So, whoever made that, whoever thought that was a good idea, just no, doesn't work. Really, really, really doesn't work. That is why they shouldn't have actually rushed the Quarry, to be honest. They shouldn't have really rushed it at the same time around The Devil in Me, because it's just rushing a game, to be honest. It's better to do one, focus on one game, whatever, to make it great, and then work on another, like a spin-off afterwards, to get it where it needs to be. Because I actually noticed the game had bugs. It had a couple of graphic problems, like the sky and whatever, and the water, the ocean not being right. Yeah. So there is problems with the game itself. It would sometimes bug whenever when people are talking or whatever. That just shows it's not completely fixed. The game. Basically the best thing for them to do is get a patch out there or whatever. And then once they got like a fixed patch or whatever or something like that, make another mode after that. Make another mode or whatever, get like a certain mode or whatever where it'd be able to have an option to add another character in there. Where you play as another character and you end up together. Sometimes. So apparently I can say Until Dawn is better, because of the scare fit factor and stuff like that. Setting, which is better, even though it's very long. Yeah, so that basically does it better for the story. Such the online though, I would say the Mana Madan does it better for the online because, well, that was the first one that had a scare effect with the online in it. So that did it perfectly, because that game was scary too. So that's when they started the online in that one, and I was actually impressed by it. This is why they need to put the online into the Quarry, properly. At least then people enjoy it better, and then get to say, okay, yeah, okay, it's that good. Okay, fine, fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, that is basically the reason for the whole thing or whatever. So yeah. Yeah, so I think that team that worked on the Quarry really, I don't think should make a game around the same time as well, like what of the other side of the team. At least then it doesn't get jumbled up in one big giant mess. Okay. I don't know what I need to say. Okay, now start reading comments. Let's see. Honestly, I do like the Quarry. I don't know how the online works. Online isn't real online. Just play it too well. They did a sign of 2 players and it doesn't play like 1 hour. Honestly, the Quarry shouldn't even have online. Play online without playing online. Just press control point. Until Dawn is harder. The Quarry, in my opinion, Until Dawn had harder choices, was more scary. Yeah, Until Dawn was actually better than the Quarry. Yeah. Because the story was lagging in the Quarry. A bit more. It was slower. At least with Until Dawn, you had jumps every single corner that you turned at, and you actually felt like the eyes were always on you. Cause like, why the hell wouldn't you shoot Chris in the Quarry? Yeah, cause after all, yeah, he's the yeah. But yeah, Quarry has stuff online. Yeah, it's one big giant mess. Like literally one giant mess. I actually think once the Devil in Me comes out, that might be better than the Quarry in general, because that would be based on a real life killer back in the old days. That would be like Jigsaw. Um, there actually is a reference in the Quarry to Jigsaw. So that could be a reason on why that the Devil in Me will be much more like Jigsaw. So definitely a reference right there. Until Dawn also had better characters. All the characters in the Quarry are knockoffs of the OGs. Yeah, yeah. Some of the characters, most of them, I just don't even know them. I don't know. Some of the characters just feel bland or annoying. Like Emma. Emma in the Quarry is just don't like her. She's always on the phone or apparently being so annoying. She's always annoying. And what's worse is you would finish the game, end up in the credits, and just when you think Emma was annoying, the credits are annoying as well, because you would sit there for a long time listening to the bloody credits, to a bunch of 2 people talking. That's just kind of like Emma, and I'm like thinking, end it now. This is torture. And I was thinking, where's the music? Where's the creepy good music that the Dark Pictures games had? And I was thinking, exactly, nothing. No irritation scene, nothing. Shite. Honestly, Jigsaw should get a choice game. That'd be sick. We've got one. The Devil in Me. The Devil in Me is like Jigsaw. So you're gonna have that one, which I actually pre-ordered that one. So I will be streaming that one with my mate. Emma is a knockoff of Jess, and Jess wasn't even that annoying. Well, Emma feels more of like a Sharpay knockoff from High School Musical. If you get what I mean, because Sharpay always likes to vlog, so that's what Emma's like. She likes to vlog, which is clearly annoying. And I also know somebody that's kind of like Emma in real life, and it's my mom. She's always on her phone or whatever, taking pictures, recording shit. That's kind of like my mom. Oh my god. This is why I just can't stand that sort of shit. With people like that. That's why I found Emma really boring as a character. I was just watching her do a bloody vlogging shit, and I was saying, hurry up. Seriously, boring. I was actually in chat with my sister and whatever, and I actually was statistically talking about how boring Emma was as a character. Um, the others, though, were a bit more enlightening than Emma. Emma seemed to be the worst character in the game. Literally the worst. Yeah, so Jacob, on the other hand, not as much. I just wasn't interested in him. Uh, I did actually like Laura. She was okay. Nick, I don't know. I mean, I liked him, but I don't really know. I liked him, but it just, I don't know. It's the way the story planned out. Um, it's the way certain characters, get taken off in a way. Yeah. And Jacob shouldn't really exist. I can't believe that's when I left him in cage. He died, so I actually spawned a life to save him to only mess up the breaker box, and it was my last life. Christ. Yeah. Yeah. Certain characters do suck for what they are. Yeah, some characters I liked, some characters I didn't really like as much. Yeah, it's like I wasn't that much keen on Dylan, but I did like Nick better than Dylan. As for the um, as for the black one, I didn't like him much at the start until later on in the game, where it became more of a plot, in the game, and then um, um, Caitlin, I can't really remember. Um, uh, I do feel bad for Max though because he was like on and off constantly, and I was thinking, well, he's one of my favorites, and it's a shame that he doesn't. I don't know. Actually, be an playable character. Oh my gosh. And Jacob, I think I already read that. Yeah. Yeah. So some characters just don't work. Some characters actually do work. Some don't. Some are just plain out annoying. Yeah. Some just work in a way. Some don't. Some just don't belong there at all. Like kind of like they're just not meant to be there. Or whatever. Um, the story plot, I don't know. It's not as good as Until Dawn. Um, the the werewolves looks. On the other hand, I found them boring. Really boring. Like, I loved honestly. I wish One Eye Girl didn't steal the show. I actually didn't really like her, but Max I loved. Yeah, Max was brilliant. But the only problem is there wasn't enough Max. Wasn't enough of him. Even though he was in backstories. Yeah. So thing is about the werewolf transformation though, it just looked like their skin came off. Or whatever. Like they get some sort of hocus pocus magic and they just turn into werewolves. And I'd be thinking, why? Where's the normal werewolf transformation? Where they have fur, because werewolves have fur mainly. They don't usually have just skin because the ones with skin are usually not werewolves. They're Wendigos. Mainly Wendigos. Wendigos walk around without any skin. Because they don't really have fur. Until Dawn also had a killer soundtrack nominee. Yeah. In the beginning, I did try to save Max. Yeah, I did that too. I think no matter how you try to save Max, I think it would sort of still end up in the same outcome. I think. Um, I mean, that's how I'm thinking it. I definitely wouldn't want to see a sequel to The Quarry, at all. I don't want to see a sequel. I think it's best to stick to the, I don't know. Yeah, because the thing was, I was a bit a bit skeptical on The Quarry at first. When I actually saw the trailer, I wasn't sure, um, on what I was seeing. And then as soon as things started leaking around, I was thinking, I don't know. I was actually thinking, I don't really know about this, to be honest. And then once I actually played through it, I was like, yeah, the wells are shite. Um, the wells just look like a pile of shit. They just look like the Wendigos, but like, weirder, to be honest. Because wells are supposed to be more of the snarling, teethy, hairy sort of wells. Um, so yeah, so thing is, it's a bit weird on how they did the werewolf thing. I mean, some appeared during different times and whatever. It was like, I don't know about this. Um, Mainly, wells don't change unless it's morning. They only change if it's morning. Um, they don't change back and forth at wells. Because usually when it comes to wells, they forget who they are. Mainly something like that. Um, because they don't know how they got there. They don't know how they um changed back or whatever. Something like that. I thought the Quarry was going to be the Hackett's killing them and trying to survive. I didn't know about Wells. I thought it was going to be for F-13. Like, you know, the thing I actually thought was about the Hatchets is, oh, you get taken in for dinner or something like that or whatever by the lady, which is apparently played by Lynn Shaya. I love the actor, but I don't know. I feel like they played her dirty in the game. She could have had like a better role, I think. Maybe more of a helpful role. Like early on, because I was playing the game and I was thinking, where is she? Why haven't they come across her yet? Because chapters went on and on and on. And it was slow, and I was like, "Yep, this is boring, really boring." Yeah, so this is why they should have done better with the story. Should have done something in a way that has Constance actually invite them over for dinner, yada yada yada, basically getting to know their secrets in and out, yada yada yada, that sort of thing. Also the group actually getting to learn about them too, their secret, on what they're doing, something like that. It would have been a bit better. But I will say I did like the twist that the Hacketts only kidnap them so they can save them, but that changes after Lady died. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of weird how they do that. Yeah, yeah, because I also think as well the big boy, Bobby, I also think he sort of played dirty, in the game, as well, because he feels like he could have been one of those turn to good sort of people, where you could actually end up helping the other side. Because he definitely feels like one of those type of people, like like Jason, where it's like Jason in a way where he ends up in his soft side after seeing a little kid look like him. It's kind of like that. Um, Kind of similar. So yeah, I think they rushed the Quarry. To be honest, they rushed it. They didn't think about the plot as much. So yeah, Bobby looked like he was gonna kill them this whole game. Thing is, Bobby was being tricked. He wasn't that sure, and I think what they could have done with Bobby is showed him his hat. You know what I mean? Show him his actual hat and whatever, and then basically have the characters actually tell him on what is actually going on to him by showing him a lot of evidence on what's actually going on, and such, which would convince Bobby that the people he's working for are bad people. Trevor was decently written though. Yeah. I think the cop was. I think the cop does it better. I think than the old lady and whatever. I think she had. I think he had one of the best. I think because at first you think he's creepy, but eventually later you find out that he actually was trying to protect everybody from actually turning and such, like keeping an eye out, just in case. Um, that's what I think happened with the cop because he actually was in a way watching out for everyone, just in case anything bad happened to them, which would show how much he cared. I mean, that's why he locked up Max and Laura in the jail in the cell. That's the reason he locked them up because he didn't want them to get out and cause havoc. He was doing it for their own safety. So in a way to stop his family from knowing they were there. So, well, she's played by Ted Raimi. No wonder there's a craft on Evil Dead joke like a chainsaw that says Groovy. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, they have a reference to the Evil Dead. That's another one. Because yeah, Max actually says about the basement and whatever. And so basically talks about the Evil Dead. I think they could either he's watched the Evil Dead movie or he's actually heard of something from far away to do with a certain character. Maybe I don't know. Something like that. I mean, that's what I think. Plus the chainsaw is actually on a stool, so that could be another reference. Plus there's probably a lot of like creepy icon references in the area because there is some parts where it feels like a Jason Voorhees sort of thing as well. Like it's a mix. As well because the whole camp thing with the lake and whatever, and then swimming in the lake and whatever, you start to think, yeah, it's like Jason a bit. It's kind of like that. Um, but yeah, I think they could have done better with the game itself. They could have added a bit more, better story to it. I think. So then it would turn out better. Chris was a sweet dude, like he got worried about the characters before nighttime and told them to stay inside, but they didn't listen. Yeah, it's kind of like the thing with Jason. They don't listen. However, they go to the camp and then they all get killed. Yeah. Um, it's very similar, except with them, they refuse to stay inside and they get mauled to death. Um, yeah, they all go to different places and they all get killed. So yeah. they don't listen. So in a way, Chris was actually trying to protect these counselors by keeping them indoors rather than let them out. Because they didn't listen, they got kept basically tracked by the others. So that was the whole problem, and because of that, they got in the way of the wells, and then the family had to intervene because most of them were getting bit because of that incident. Um, so yeah, oh Christ. Jason's movie is just full of hedgehog teens who never listen. Yeah, it's kind of similar where they just don't listen and then they just get into more trouble and then it just turns out into more danger, more killing and stuff like that. Yeah, it's very similar. I actually think the story that stood out the most, I think, where in the story, I think it was actually Laura and Max. I think they worked out a bit better than the others. The story was a bit more entwined together, especially in the flashbacks, because you kind of feel sorry for him because he tries to have chats with Laura and whatever, and Laura actually does feel the pain he's in and refuses to leave him, no matter even if even after she's actually got out. Like they're too busy thinking of watermelons and sausages in their 13 movies. Yeah. Um. Yeah. It's like yeah. Uh. I do think the Quarry needs to fix their bugs. I think like their game itself because it does need another patch to fix the quality in it. Certain graphics. I'm gonna list the graphics. The water doesn't stand out. It just looks like it's messy. Doesn't really feel like water like it does in the other That Pictures games where it actually is like water. But in that, it doesn't really feel like water. It's just like it's kind of like when you put like some sort of liquid and then it just ends up all dry and wetter, drier than wetter, and then it just messes everything. It's kind of like putting paint together. It's kind of like that. And then in what when you have the campfire scene, you actually look like you have rain in the sky. Stuck in the sky, not moving at all. That's another problem. Sometimes the floor glitches a bit now and again, which again is basically their fault due to being rushed. Until Dawn's choices were off the rails. Yeah, at least with Until Dawn, it actually worked. And whatever, because yeah, that actually did work a bit better because the team put more effort into that. And they didn't rush it, like they did with the Quarry. Yeah. This is why the main games work better than the spin-offs. Because the spin-off of the with the Quarry doesn't really work as well as the others. Like for example, Until Dawn really works as a game, and then the next one in the list is the Man of Medan. Man of Medan actually works for being creepy because it's based off the ghost ship. And then the one after that is Little Hope. Little Hope's actually a good one for the thing with with the witch thing. Except it was more of an illusion though, so that one I felt was one of the weak ones in the series. So that one kind of downgraded a bit more. So House of Ashes actually did work because you had alien vampires, which is a creative idea that worked. So that actually got me, because that made more sense, than the wells in the quarry, because those ones in the quarry don't make sense. They don't really look like normal wells. They just look like someone skinned them and then said, "Oh, okay, there's your werewolf." So yeah, um, that's the problem right there, with that. So the best way they would have fixed the werewolf mechanic, I think, is it's like if the other side, if the team actually said, okay, let's basically do a proper werewolf one and do it better than that side. So they would make one, probably put like a furry werewolf, and you'd actually see them actually transforming better. They would grow claws, would grow teeth, and whatever as they would transform without splattering into like a werewolf. You would actually see the fur going on their skin, and they'd actually become a werewolf. Just like the werewolves in Underworld, because that's how they transform. And then when they go back to normal, they just resume human form. When they come back to their senses, which is usually daytime. So yeah. Um, Honestly, they really should make a new Saw game where in story you can choose to save people, but it'll be hard or let them die depending on the crimes they did. Um, they did have a normal Jigsaw game, but I don't know. Um, Mainly that was just based on single player though. But The Devil in Me is basically a choice game where you do actually end up either choosing to save somebody or either choosing to kill them off. Um, that will probably work better than some of the others in the series. Um, so, because I know they have a long list, and I don't think the actual creators, or whatever, should make another spin off like the Quarry, because the Quarry is not as good. Um, yeah, so that one just needs to, yeah. There is a lot of other ideas out there that could be a good idea. I actually have heard they are thinking about an exorcist, which is like possessed, in a way. Um, don't know how that's gonna work though. Um, and then you got something like a Final Destination sort, I think, with the death sort of thing, which is like which is called Oh Death, something like that. Um, and if you choose to save, you're gonna see them from traps in and online. Your players will need to try to escape, and the jigsaw player can choose which traps. That's actually gonna be similar with The Devil in Me, because you'd have a set of people. One person would make a choice, the other would make a choice in like a different room. So eventually, until they end up entwining onto each other, which might either be a death or a live situation. So that might actually will probably happen in The Devil in Me, most likely, um, because the killer will try to kill whoever tries to survive. Which might be a little twist. I can reckon there will be some Easter eggs with Jigsaw in that, most likely. They might have something similar to Jigsaw's little puppet on like a little cycle thing traveling along the floor. maybe cackling and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot that might happen. They might even reference the actual Jigsaw himself. The actual reference to him, maybe like maybe he's in a gazette or something like that, or he's on a wall with a picture or something like that of himself. Something like that. I mean that's the only thing I can think of. That he might be referenced in that film. Well, something like that. Um, yeah. So, um, yeah. So I think that's all I've got to say. I think for tonight I do need to go to bed. Um, so, um, so I think that's enough of me really talking about this. Um, so yeah. So if I have anything else to say about uh any other stuff, however, I will make another live stream and such about it and such. Um, so yeah. Oh wait, let me read this. Imagine the trap on wheel trap in the game. Imagine how I'd fix it. Which seems to say kill only about to for. Oh yeah, probably yeah, like the mouse trap thing. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I am actually going to end the stream right now. To go to bed and such. So, yeah. See ya.